Hi, everyone. I'm Nicole Huckabee, and welcome to Conversations with Nicole. Your success is my focus, says Coach Temple Robinson. She is the owner of Temple Robinson Coaching. Temple says the foundation of her coaching is empowering others on their journey of self-discovery to find their own answers. I hope you find Temple's story inspiring, informative, and empowering to be your best self. Let's get started. Everyone, welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am delighted to have as my guest today Coach Temple Robinson, the owner of Temple Robinson Coaching. It's good to see you again. We met not too long ago at a women's event, and I'm so glad to have you on my show.
Yes, you spoke at the event, and I still remember your speech and how inspirational it was. And I said to myself, I have got to meet her. So I'm so glad we were able to connect again.
Absolutely. I feel the same way about you after we spoke after that event. And I thought, wow, she's special. She does have a personal story to share. So we're going to get to your coaching in just a moment, but your background and your personal story really led you to where you are today and leading others to be empowered, to find their best self. So tell folks a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am originally a native of Durham, North Carolina. And so I graduated from high school there and went off to college at North Carolina A&T in Greensboro, North Carolina. And my very first real job or career was as a teacher. And so I taught middle school students computers. And as a teacher, I found that as much support that we need inside the classroom, we need as much support outside of the classroom. And so when I had that epiphany, I learned that there was an actual career where people actually represent educators and classified staff and basically everyone that works for the school district. And so I went and pursued that career. And I did that in Washington State for over 10 years and really enjoyed it. I got a lot of joy out of that job because how wonderful is it when you are excited about going to work because you know that you are there to make a difference. Your impact is felt and people are really welcoming of the contributions that you bring into the workplace. And
It's
so
like
that
a
was
passion and a purpose together.
yes. And so that was my main motivation, my purpose for doing the work. And so in that position, we ended up getting one new manager and the organization structure is rather flat. So depending on where you were, there were only two managers above you. In my situation, there happened to be three. And the outcome of it was this particular manager, he had some issues with people with race. And so, unfortunately, he created an uncomfortable working environment for everyone that had any kind of brown in their skin. So, I had coworkers that were Samoan, I had coworkers that were Asian, I'm African American myself. All of us went through some kind of uncomfortable situation with him that lasted for a while.
Yeah.
And
I'm
in my
sorry that happened to you. That's so wrong in every way.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
It was honestly, Nicole, it was very surprising because I honestly thought I am educated enough. I know the right people. I contribute everywhere I go. So I wouldn't go through racial discrimination anywhere, especially not at work, because I'm good at what I do. There were no issues with my performance. If anything, I actually ended up getting more work because of my performance.
Yeah.
And so that was very baffling. And I want to be very clear. I went through everything else. Like, do we just not get along personality wise? Is there a communication issue? What really is it? And then when I really sat back and I said, wait a minute, I've had well over 20 meetings with management and they are making promises that they're not keeping, but I'm keeping my end of the deal. And after going through that for over 5 years, I really had to look at myself and say, okay, what is it? And it was highly uncomfortable to realize that race was at the bottom of it.
So hurtful. So hurtful.
It is. It is because I can't control my race and I cannot control my gender. Well,
It's the
I
same.
don't think I can.
That'd
Yeah.
be like saying someone doesn't like women. Hello, right? It's the same thing.
Right. And so after coming to that reality, I said, okay, well, what am I going to do? I fought it for 5 years. The stress involved, not sleeping well, seeing a counselor, all kind of medication. I was on a cocktail
Mm.
because my whole being was just out of sync. And so it was a very, very, just talking about it brings, it was very, very hard for me to make that decision because I honestly thought I was going to retire from this work because I loved it so much. And so in the end, I said, okay, if this is what they want to do, then we'll go ahead and sit down and have a conversation about what a separation agreement will look like. And so I had to go out and hire my own attorney to represent me against an organization that to this day I still have a lot of respect for because I truly believe in the purpose of what they're doing. So at the same time, I also learned that I was pregnant and I knew that I was going to be a single mother 400%. And so I said, okay, what do I do? So I was actively looking for where am I going to go? I know I'm talented. I don't know what career I want to go into because I was doing what I loved. But what do I do? And my mom said, well, why don't you come on to Florence? And I'm like, no.
And for our listeners and viewers, that would be Florence, South Carolina. So, yes.
Thank you. I mean, I'm from Durham, lived in Greensboro. I mean, those are larger, towns. I would say mid-sized towns. I lived in Raleigh, North Carolina. I mean, moved to Seattle. So moving to Florence, in my mind, I'm a suburban woman. So
Yeah.
at the time, though, I also realized I could get the most support if I moved closer to my mother. So I moved home. And I remember having many conversations with God, saying, God, I don't understand. I don't understand. But what I do know is that you know the answer. And I prayed and I said, well, God, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to do? Because I am here in South Carolina and I am literally starting all over again. And so when I had my daughter, I always knew that I wanted to go and get my master's. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I got my master's in human resource development from Clemson University. And at that time, I was thinking about becoming a coach, but I was kind of on the fence about it. Well, little did I know, as things would line up as he would have it, one of my professors was a coach. And so I had a conversation with her about it. And from that one conversation, I was inspired. I'm like, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And why? Right? Why? Because
Wow.
I
Why?
honestly believe
Why? Yeah.
that if the managers that I was working with at my old job had a coach, my situation would have come up in the conversation that they had with the coach. And the coach would have helped them be able to navigate that. Because as a coach, I don't tell you what to do. I help you look introspectively into who are you, what are you being, and then what are you doing? And this is really reflective of the higher sense and purpose of you. And for those people who are in leadership, who coaches support you with interpersonal situations as well as achieving different goals in life. And how can you achieve that goal with more ease and clarity and really just your success just goes through the roof? Who can help you with that? And so with my previous job, I was tied to the success of people. So that was a natural match. And then also, how can I be a part of the solution so that if someone is having an interpersonal situation at work, what can be one of the solutions with that? Not that anybody's wrong, but how can we get to a place where we can make it right for everyone if they had a coach? So that's really what drove me into becoming a coach.
It's awesome. Your story was really hard at one time, but I believe, and I feel like you might feel the same way. As hard as that was for you, your experience, your resilience, your perseverance, your ability to be able to move past that gives you such a valuable tool and information that you're able to share with your clients today because you survived it. You didn't let that situation defeat you. As difficult as it was, it made you more relatable, stronger, gave you more experience to be able to be the coach that you are today. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I always felt like God gives you these situations that you're in. Well, maybe He doesn't give them to us, they're just dealt with us as that's just we're living on earth. When we go through these experiences that we don't ask for, don't want to be a part of, God says, I'll help you get through it. And when you get through to the other side, you'll be able to help someone else because we do live on earth where bad things happen.
Mhm.
And I have felt through my life experiences, things that I've been through, divorce, changing your life, making new decisions. That's hard, but you go through the course, you stay with it, and then you'll find someone that you can say, you're going to make it. You'll be okay. Here are some of the skills, the things that I did to, that helped me. Maybe they'll help you. That has to be part of coaching now.
Well, yes, it is, because in order for me to be a coach, I also have to be coached as well. And so when I am working on a particular goal that I have a lot of energy around, when I experience my brain telling me, oh, well, I don't know about that. Do you really think this is possible? You don't know the people, you don't have the resources and all that. I have to go through it myself in terms of what is it like to be coached to be able to support someone else. And the beautiful part about it is it's not about me giving advice, right? Because we have mentors and our friends and family that do that. But really, what is the next best authentic step for you to bring your vision into fruition? What is the next step for you to be able to be the contributor or the catalyst that you want to see in your environment? What is that vision that you have that you really want to bring into fruition? So I get a lot of energy around that.
That's awesome. So, how do you bring people to answer those questions that you're presenting to them? Give me an example of how you do that in your coaching.
That's a great question. So I have a client right now that, well, actually, no, let me back up. Clemson University used to be a client of mine. And one of the first clients that I had at Clemson was a professor. And this particular professor was involved in a leadership training program for people to increase the number of minorities in higher education administration. So he and I sat down for a conversation, and he said, I know I can do whatever I want to do. I just secured tenure, my tenureship. I, there's no question about what I want to do. I'm just not sure about what I want to do. So from there, I listen to what the person says or will say, and then I pick up on energy in the words or metaphors that they use. And so then from there, he was saying, well, I'm just not sure. I'm not sure. And I said, what are you not sure about? Well, everyone who's done what I want to do, they failed and ended up losing their job. So we had more conversation around that, and I gave him a very short assignment that he had a lot of energy around. And the next time that we got back together, he said, whoa, I had no idea. There are so many people who are doing what I want to do, and I've already connected and built networks with them. And in his conversation, he kept saying, but he's so uncertain. He's so uncertain. And I said, well, what are you uncertain about? Because I'm trained to hear certain things. I
Sure.
said, what are you uncertain about? And then the outcome of it was his uncertainty was because he was a leader during COVID and he was responsible for a team. And it was very difficult for him to lead his team because COVID was so uncertain. And so, in the end, in his situation, he was taking his experience from COVID and then applying it to other areas of his life. And when I bifurcated that for him and helped him understand what's really going on is you really haven't dealt with what's happening with COVID. If he could have written me a check for $1 million, he would have done it right then and there. His whole face just lit up and brightened up. And it really helped him understand I really do know what I want to do. And it's not uncommon for people like that who are very successful to want to continue their success, but there's a level of not sureness or there's a fog that exists and we're trying to figure out where does it come from. There's another client that I have now. Her goal was to create a journal. And she kept hearing people, oh, your journals are so good, blah, 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 make one for me. And then she said, oh, I would really love just to create a journal and create it at a mass level. And we sat down and talked about it. And for whatever reason, she was experiencing her own internal blocks of just moving forward. And so after working with her for less than 6 months, not only does she have her journal created, she's now in the process of selling her journal and actually
Wow.
living, yes, living and doing those things that she wants to do. And I'm very excited for her because I see so many more things happening. So I hope those are two good examples. It's really okay.
Yeah, no, those are great examples. I'm just like really enjoying listening to this. As you were talking, I was thinking, when someone is a coach, do I necessarily have to be putting that coaching into a job, or can it just be to in life in general? Because when you talk about the person writing a journal, that doesn't necessarily sound like job related, even though it's turning into maybe something financially good for her. Talk me a little bit more about the client. Does the client have to be someone in a job looking to do something in their career, or can they be looking to do something elsewhere in their life? I mean, what does that look like?
Well, it can be both.
Yeah.
So with the professor, it was around him and where does he really want to move with his career. With the young lady with the journal, she's an entrepreneur. So it was really about what is that idea that I'm really going to hold on to, because many people are like serial entrepreneurs, but they're not sure which one do I really want to take and go with. So with her, it was that. And I have had other clients where I've had older women as clients, and they're really trying to figure out who am I at this moment? Because I am transitioning from working to being at home. And now I'm not really sure what my life is supposed to look like. So ultimately, coaching touches every area of your life, because there is a belief that we have that life is a hologram. So once you get a breakthrough in one area of your life, the likelihood of that extending to other areas is extremely high when you're having other breakthroughs. My ideal client is someone who is in the workforce, who's a professional, a mid or senior level executive that is really looking to up their leadership game. Because most executives, after a while, it doesn't come about, it's not about what content do you know, it is about how well are you able to move and motivate people and be the leader that they need you to be in the moment. So how do you actually become that? And that's really through a lot of introspection and a lot of looking on the inside.
So does a client meet with you like on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis? Do you have certain tests that you have them do? Give me a little bit more details on how it actually works. I
No
mean,
tests over here.
the stories were great because they were kind of a synopsis of
Mhm.
talking to them and a couple of things that you have, but just a little bit more detail of actually the weekly, monthly, day to day, or interaction with the client.
So with me, I don't do any assessments. And the reason why is because now there are coaches who do assessments, and there's nothing wrong with that. In
Sure.
my particular space, I don't do the assessment because the assessment is already going to tell you information that you usually probably already know about yourself. That is not what's stopping you from becoming the ideal person that you want to be. So what I usually do is I have a discovery session with the client where we meet for about an hour and we talk about, what if you had a magic wand, what would you want to accomplish within 6 months? And we'll have a conversation about that. And then I'll share with them, okay, this is what I'm hearing. These are the tools that I can share with you that will really support you in getting where you want to go. And then after that, we meet once every 2 weeks for an hour. And so we initially create a plan where we can discuss what, if creating a plan, what is it that you really want to do? And the intent is not to be like, oh my God, I have a plan, I got to hold on to it. It's
Right.
really more about it's really more about benchmarks. What are
Right.
the benchmarks that we want to have along the way? And so we will meet, discuss how things are going. What do you want as the outcome or the result of this session? I will always ask that question first, because coaching is about right? And that's one of the differences between coaching and counseling. Counselors are excellent. Therapy is excellent. Therapy deals with your past emotions and things of that nature. Coaching is about what are you doing now and how are you creating the life and being who you want to be now and in the future. What are you
Love
actually
that.
doing?
I love that. I'm just going to take a wild guess. Do most people just have the fear of taking the next step? The fear of,
Mhm.
I don't know if I have the courage to do that. I don't have the courage to try something new. I don't have the courage. Does that play into it because I'm getting out of my comfort zone? Maybe I'm doing something differently. Is that often a part of it? And how do you coach them through that?
That is a very good question. My initial response is that people have the courage because it's an idea that you've actually pronounced.
That's good.
So, what really is going on is identifying who you are when you are literally going outside of your comfort zone. Who are you? What is your purpose around this? What is it about this that gives you energy? What is the contribution you want to be known for? And when we're in a space where we are doing something that is new to us, that we have a lot of energy around, but it's also uncomfortable because we've never done it before, to be quite frank, you're exactly where you're supposed to be.
That's probably true. Yes, I never thought about that. That means you're moving forward. That means you're getting
Right.
there. That means you're actually on the verge of doing it. Yes.
And so, how can you do that with more clarity, focus, ease, and grace? So that when you have those moments that happen, there's actually a term for that called monkey mind, which is a Buddhist term of when your mind swings from doubt to worry, doubt to worry. So, people, if there's ever anyone who says, well, I just think about it and I just do it, that is a very simplistic way of really talking about how the brain actually operates in the experiences that people have when they're going outside their comfort zone. So I genuinely believe that people have the courage. They just need a little bit of support, or they don't even need it. They could benefit. They could benefit from a little bit of support that when they're in that space, they are reassured of who they are. So I do activities with them so that they define themselves, because it is through that introspection and through tying who you are to your purpose that really, really gives people the juice to move forward.
Gosh, this is just great stuff. We could probably talk for days. It's amazing how someone on the outside can come in and really help you be your best self. Sometimes we are our worst crit. We are our worst critic. We hold us back because we just don't think we can. But sometimes it just takes talking to the professional, you, the coach, to show us, yes, you can do that. You're just not letting go of this, or you're just not moving forward with this, or you just don't have a plan. It's just almost like someone holding your hand, you know, as you're walking through some difficult paths and just figuring it out. I love that. I love that. How can people find you if they want to tap into what you've got there um, with your program?
For people who are interested, you can reach me at www.templerobinson.com, and that is spelled Temple Light Church, Robinson like Robinson Crusoe.
I love that. That's perfect. We could continue to talk and probably solve a lot of people's problems and help them keep moving forward. But as we close, give me some final thoughts on what people need to know if they're in a situation right now where they want to make the change or do something different, or the things that a couple of nuggets of how to become my best self, and where to reach out if they're not able to reach you, you know the advice right now that may help them to start moving forward in that direction.
The first thing that I will say to you is, first of all, congratulations to you for choosing to be bold, courageous, and beautiful all at the same time. The second thing that I will say is journal. It is surprising how wonderful journaling can be to help you get a level of clarity. The next thing that I will say is have conversations with people that you feel you could be vulnerable with. And it's not uncommon for people to say, I don't want to talk about this to anyone, and that is completely okay. Talking about it, you're not necessarily seeking their advice as much as it is you talking about it to get even more clarity on what it is that you see for yourself. And then from there, if you really, really are interested in investing in yourself to really take yourself to the next level, then reach out to a coach. I'm a transformational coach. So there are tools that I share with you that I also do myself to maintain my own transformation and to continue to transform. And so reach out to a coach because we are more than willing to support you on your journey. You are the driver. We are the passenger. The driver and the passenger has two different viewpoints. And
That's good.
so,
That's so good.
yeah.
Keep going. Yeah, I just want to say that's so good.
So the viewpoint that I will have will be greater and wider because I'm able to actually hear you talk and really help you get to the deeper root of things. And if you're like, well, I've never heard of a coach before, this is new to me. Congratulations. You are not alone. You're not. So you're fine where you are. And if you're really interested, we are here to support you. And if you are uncomfortable while you are doing something new, give yourself a pat on the back. You are doing exactly what you're supposed to do.
That's great advice and direction. And I actually feel like I'm one of those people that you're speaking to because I am in my next season of my life and doing conversations with Nicole. I'm trying new things now that I'm fully retired, trying to get in different industries where I can use my talents. And I have found myself being a little hesitant or being nervous about it, but I'm continuing to do it because I know that continuing to put myself out there will have a better result. And I have enough confidence in myself to think, why not? You know, so good stuff, Temple. Good stuff. Well, I'm just so thankful for people like you that are out there and are really helping all of us reach our full potential and be our best self and be transformative because all of us are in different seasons of our life. You know, it could be the single mom moving into the workplace or someone who's worked all their life and now they're retiring. What's next? There's always a transformation. There's always a next phase, and there's always someone like you that's needed to help us navigate through that in life. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And for you, Nicole,
Yeah.
as you continue to move forward to discovering your niche, when you find it and when you experience it, you will know that it's yours. So continue to explore. The world is your oyster.
I love that. Thank you so much. You're so wonderful. So templerobinson.com.
Yeah.
Perfect. Everyone knows where to find you now. I want them to find you because I want them all to be their best self. You got to
Yes.
help us all, Temple.
Yes.
Oh, goodness. Listen, thank you so much for being my guest today. This has been truly transformative, which is wonderful. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, and that will do it for this edition of Conversations with Nicole. Until I see you again, I hope you have a great day.